watching Fox Local.
We begin this Thursday morning with a Fox 10 News alert and some video just in this morning of a mailbox that was apparently damaged overnight.
So this was outside of a U.S. Post Office in Phoenix. We have video for you this morning. 7th Avenue and Indian School Road. You can see the collection box there with the left open with what looks like debris that has been burned. And here's a closer look of it here. It's right just south of Indian School on the east side of the roadway. So we have reached out to the post office and police to get additional information, but it looks as though someone was trying to start a fire inside this container here at the Postal Service, which is a bit unnerving as we inch closer here to Election Day.
Yeah, our photojournalist on scene who captured the video says there are actually security cameras pointing directly at the mailbox and some of the building as well. So there is a good chance whatever happened was caught on camera. Another mailbox next to it is undamaged. Yeah, Tom Fergus was out there this morning. He spoke with some folks who drove by and they say they were too concerned to drop off their ballots here. So they didn't vote today. They're going to plan on dropping them off somewhere else. As soon as we receive new information from the police or the post office, we will share that with you. And you decide 2024, Arizona's 11 electoral votes are up for grabs. Of course, we are a swing state. And that has been bringing a lot of attention to the Grand Canyon State, with some of those candidates and their supporters from both sides of the aisle making a lot of visits here. So the latest campaign stop taking place today, bringing former President Donald Trump back to the Valley, and a whole lot of people, big crowds. Danielle Miller is live there in Tempe with more on this. Danielle.
Yeah, big crowds expected here. As we know, ASU is in session, so the students and just local traffic, so definitely going to be a very busy day outside of ASU's campus. You can see this is the Mullet Arena right behind us here on campus. This is where the event is happening today. You can see all of the stanchions kind of roped off here where this massive crowd is going to make their way in. So far this morning, hundreds of people already lining up to come see the former president speak this afternoon here. Doors open at 10 o'clock this morning, and he is set to speak at 2 p.m. right here at the Mullet Arena. And as we know, there's 5,000 seats inside here on the Tempe's campus. Doors open at 10 o'clock this morning. Free tickets can be reserved on Trump's campaign website. And Trump was last in Arizona back on October 13th for a rally in Prescott Valley. He also was here in August for a rally at the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale. And back in June, he held a town hall at Dream City Church in Phoenix. So most polls are showing that the former president has a slight lead over Vice President Kamala Harris here in Arizona, falling within the margin of error to give them a virtual tie. ASU police, speaking of all these people here today, advising anybody here in the Tempe area to be ready for heavy traffic, congestion. A big pedestrian and vehicle presence is expected around Mullet Arena. Packer Drive is closed and is said to be closed for quite some time out here until this rally wraps up later this afternoon. There's also closures and restrictions expected along 6th Street. Parking in the area is also expected to be limited because of this rally here. The public and students are encouraged to take public transportation. And of course, if you're not coming to the rally, if you're not coming here for classes today, definitely avoid the area if at all possible. So many people here already, hundreds of people lining up, ready to get inside today. We spoke with a few of those folks. They were here overnight. One of those, 9th in line. So she is very excited to come here to the rally this afternoon.
Donald Trump is so dynamic to me. He's a leader. He's strong, very positive, and he loves the U.S. That's what I like about him the most, is he loves the U.S.
Well, I'm here to see President Donald J. Trump speak. Very excited to see him, and I'd get here as early as I could to see him. Woke up a little late, but was able to get here on time, so.
So, Nick, you just saw there, he is in line right now. He has been to 3 Trump rallies. Suzanne, the woman before, she has tried to go to 2. She has not made it inside. She said, this one I am definitely not missing. And she was 9th in line, so I think she'll luckily get in today here for her. So one of the biggest topics that we've talked to supporters out here today, the main concern that they are focused on I would say that the vast majority of those people are border security issues. That's the number one talking point that they're, ready to hear from the former president. That's the number one voting issue that they're kind of focusing their attention on this election. And I just do want to point out that Trump is also scheduled to return in Arizona next week. He's going to be on the Tucker Carlson show, so he will be here once again before the November 5th election. We'll send it back to you guys.
You know, if there's a silver lining, I guess it's that weather is better for all these people standing in lines. Danielle, you recall when you were up at the church, Dream City, and you were out there in the heat.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely a different situation. It's actually chilly here this morning, but I do see a lot of people with their waters. A lot of people have snacks and things like that. But yeah, the Dream City Church, we were out there, and yeah, it was not very pleasant.
Early voting has already begun underway here in Arizona. We're now learning the count has started.
So check out the elections office here for Maricopa County. The recorder, Stephen Richards, says more than 630,000 ballots have already been returned thus far. Big thank you to the volunteers and people who are working there to count these ballots. This was as of yesterday, and it is all being streamed live so you can watch.
It's a great thing about the tabulation center here. It's secure and it's transparent. All the cameras that you see in here, voters can go and watch 24/7 what's going on in the tabulation room, what's going on in ballot processing.
Tomorrow is the last day registered voters can request an early ballot. Dozens more voting centers are also scheduled to open. We'll be covering elections coverage and campaigning throughout the state here today, but now on to some other headlines. New details this morning on the man accused of firing shots into the Democratic office in Tempe multiple times and placing several political signs in Ahwatukee with baggies of white powder and razor blades.
Yeah, we're now learning he may have been planning for something even bigger and even more violent. 60-year-old Jeffrey Kelly was arrested on Tuesday. In a search of his property, ATF agents found more than 120 firearms and over 250,000 rounds of ammunition at his house. Investigators say Jeffrey Kelly may have been planning a mass casualty event. Kelly is now facing 10 charges, including criminal damage and terrorism.
Justice does not have a political party. The Tempe Police Department will uphold the law and protect everyone, no matter their political affiliation.
2 years ago, Kelly was suspected of stealing political signs in his area, but no charges were filed. He's being held on a $500,000 bond. No one was hurt in connection to these crimes.
An update to a story here out of Colorado. A man pleads guilty to threatening to kill elections officials and Governor Katie Hobbs when she was Secretary of State. Teek Brockbank pleading guilty to a count of transmitting interstate threats. The 45-year-old made the threats against Hobbs back in 2021, as well as elections officials in Colorado. And judges and federal law enforcement agencies were included in that as well. He will be sentenced in February. Developing on the roadways, we are getting new details this morning on when intersections in Phoenix could bring back red light cameras.
Yeah, we first told you about those red light cameras yesterday. The city says they hope to have them all up and running by next year. It comes after complaints from residents about speeding drivers in dangerous conditions in some of those intersections, although some argue that the main issue is not hiring enough officers to do traffic jobs. The Phoenix Police Department used to have a traffic enforcement squad of more than 100 officers, but we're being told that is now down to only 30 officers.
They're not hiring enough officers to do the traffic jobs out there, so they're compensating by putting up red light cameras. I don't think that's a good thing for the city.
I am some days counting the red light runners, and I don't know what the answer is, but I think hitting their pocketbooks certainly never hurts.
The plan is to install red light cameras at 10 of the city's most dangerous intersections. They say the red light cameras will be up no later than next fall. All right, we are starting with a developing story out of Buckeye, where a teen was arrested for allegedly plotting a terror attack on Phoenix's Pride Festival over the weekend.
So we've received some court documents here that show the 17-year-old Marvin Hollow was planning to set off a bomb. He was arrested a week before he could carry out the attack. His mother told police her son had been talking to terrorists in chat rooms for months. Investigators found conversations where Hollow said said he had a drone to move the bomb and an automated remote control car to operate it. He had been planning to carry out this attack since November of last year. The Pride community thanking local and federal law enforcement for avoiding this threat.
The kinds of threats that we saw this weekend, born out of hatred, born out of ignorance, born out of spite. It is emotional, it is traumatic. I encourage anyone who needs the support to please seek help.
The suspect is being charged as an adult with a 1 count of terrorism and conspiracy to commit terrorism. He's also being held on a $1 million cash-only bond.
We're also getting some new information this morning on a deadly police shooting that happened at the West Phoenix Dollar Tree store last weekend. Investigators have now identified that suspect as 31-year-old Essex Jackson. Police say Jackson had a knife and was trespassing at the store. He initially resisted arrest and grabbed one of the officers' tasers, prompting officers to open fire, killing him. Both officers were treated for non-life-threatening injuries and released from the hospital soon after. We also have an update for you on what's being called a win for free speech.
So the case against a surprise woman who was arrested after speaking out at a city council meeting is now being dismissed. The Maricopa County judge who made the decision called the case objectively outrageous. Rebecca Massey, if you recall, was charged with trespassing after Surprise Mayor Skip Hall had police forcibly remove her, citing a rule barring public comment about being, if you're critical of city employees. Well, the city has since removed that rule after this situation, but Massey plans to continue her lawsuit now against the city and the police department. Stories caught on camera here this morning. A quick-thinking Valley teen helped stop a suspected child predator.
Yeah, Glendale police are sharing some video this morning that shows it all go down. A 14-year-old girl says Isaiah Navarro tried to talk to her when she was walking home from school. He asked the teen for her phone number, but instead, that quick-thinking teen gave the 37-year-old man her mom's phone number.
And he's like, okay, and he's like, do you want to exchange numbers so we can, like, I don't know, he said, like, do you want to exchange numbers, something? I was like, no, I have to get home, my mom's expecting me, and I can't talk to strangers, and he just kept on asking, and then I was like, okay, whatever, so I gave him my mom's number, and then I walked away.
Good job.
So her mom then got detectives involved who carried on a conversation with the suspect. The man was trying to meet up with the girl. Instead, he met with officers who placed him under arrest.
Wow, smart girl. Well done, Mom. Yes. Another crazy moment here caught on camera. A driver slams his car into 2 Tempe police patrol vehicles. Officers say they found him slumped over his steering wheel, and you can see officers trying to pull the driver from the car. Here he is right here, and they're like, come on, you can get out, stop the car. But he kept moving the car violently forward and backward, back and forth. Officers deployed tasers that still did not stop him. Eventually, he drove off with taser wires dangling behind his car. Police later arrested him. Officers say they suffered some minor injuries.